Players screamed.
Oh no!
Monsters attacked.
Oh no, what?
Fish were caught.
Oh, I got a catfish.
But after hours of playtesting, the real horror was that it got boring. After playing Gone Fishing for a couple of hours, things started to feel repetitive. Catch fish, survive monsters, repeat. We realized players could quickly learn the rhythm, which led to the spooky atmosphere losing its punch.
Oh, I'm gooning. Oh. Get on the bed.
This was a big problem. We wanted the game to stay fresh for hours on end. So how do we keep the gameplay fresh every time you play it? We got straight to thinking. What if we made the game a battle royale instead? No, that wasn't it. What if we added a shop? We needed to find a way to add variety and progression, and a shop would do just that. We would be able to differentiate each session with different items and upgrades that players could invest in to play the game differently. This was going to be a big design challenge though. I mean, it's not exactly common to find a Bass Pro Shops in your local cursed remote valley. Eventually, we settled on this design of a trader who comes in by a hot air balloon. This felt mysterious compared to other options. We obviously couldn't do a boat trader because if a trader came in on a boat, that would mean you could escape the valley by a boat. It would also be weird if the trader had a shop posted up in the valley, as that just wouldn't make much sense. I mean, it's not even economically viable. Where's the demand? A hot air balloon, however, a mysterious trader drifting quietly into our secluded valley, felt weirdly perfect. The hot air balloon trader would come in sometime midday, stay for a few minutes, and then leave, right before things start getting dark, leaving you all alone.
To take a break from making fish, I decided to work on the trader. Obviously, we needed some way to transport him to and from the cabin, so we decided on a hot air balloon. It would fit the theme for the game, and it would stand out when he was arriving. Once I'd created the base model of the balloon, I added a basket and a bag to the side so the player has a place to drop their fish. I also added some small details and decorations. After that, I spent some time making textures for the finished product. Now, I'm working on the trader himself. We wanted to have a mysterious, cloaked individual, and I settled on a plague doctor vibe, as sculpting a face seemed like it would be a disaster. I started by sculpting a base mesh to get some details, but in the end, he was over 1 million polygons, and that wouldn't be acceptable for a game as incredible as Gone Fishing. So I crushed him down to 3K polygons and added some joints so the rig would animate properly. I'm in the process of adding his clothes and texturing him at the moment, so hopefully we can get him in the game soon.
So we have the design, but how would we fit this into the game? What would he sell? And how would that help players progress? After much thought, we came up with a system that we really liked, although it's not fully fleshed out yet. Currently, we have two sections. The first section is the personal upgrades section. This section includes 3 tiers of upgrades for the rod, sinker, and line. Each rod upgrade helps the player cast further and reel in faster. Each sinker upgrade helps the player's bait get deeper, so it adds a multiplier to whatever you catch, allowing for larger and rarer species. Finally, each line upgrade will increase the maximum amount of tension you can have before the line snaps. So those are all the personal upgrades. Next is the second section, which is the totem section. Totems are these big stone things that can alter your team's playstyle by providing some types of bonuses. These totems are much more expensive than personal upgrades, as they affect everyone on the team. The totem section will offer 3 different options that will rotate daily. Not only that, but each playthrough, your team can only choose 4 totems maximum. That way, players need to be wise and pick up totems that work well together, depending on their playstyle and situation. We currently have 8 totems to pick from, which I already modeled and implemented into the game. These totems include the Timeless Light totem, which increases day length, the Merchant's Favorite totem, which leads to cheaper upgrade prices with the trader, the Bountiful Bait totem, which increases bait spawn rate, the Fish Frenzy totem, which means the fish are hungrier and they bite faster, the Gilded Flow totem, which generates a certain amount of gold every 5 seconds, the Slowing Metabolism totem, which reduces the maximum fish quota by a certain percent, the Golden Catch totem, which increases the value of all fish caught, and the Leviathan's totem, which increases the rarity and size of every fish caught. After purchasing one of these totems, it will spawn near the altar like this. When all 4 totems are bought, the shop will delete all remaining totems and only offer upgrades. If players really end up liking this totem system, I think it would be cool to expand the system even further. Maybe even make it so you can upgrade the totems in similar fashion to a skill tree. This would allow players to even further customize their playstyles and add more progression. We could also make a cool system where each tier of upgrade in the totem may require different fish sacrifices to unlock. Shops and upgrades are cool and all, but some players are competitive, and they see progress in the form of doing better than the competition. This is why I added a global leaderboard, which stores the top 30 fish for each species. Well, that's the plan at least. For now, we just have the top 30 of all fish caught. Adding this was a terrible pain. I tried to use the Steam subsystem for the back end of the leaderboard, and my Unreal Engine completely broke down. So then I went to an HTTP solution called Dreamlow, which I implemented with the rarest plugin. So all the leaderboard information will be held on a website where we can request and send the information in order to update the UI in our game via HTTP requests. Now players can grind out gone fishing in order to place high on those leaderboards.
Now that you've seen the new progression system in the game involving both the new upgrade system and leaderboard, let's revisit the bait system real quick and see how it contributes to progression as well. In addition, we will take a look at how the map has evolved in order to support linear progression as well. As you might expect from a bait system, bigger bait equals bigger fish, for the most part. There is also another component to this equation, difficulty to catch and rarity. Bats, being both the rarest and most difficult to catch, are your classic endgame bait. They are used for catching monsters in the cave lake. You aren't yet aware of what type of fish you can catch in the cave lake, but you will find out in due time. What makes bats a great endgame bait? Well, bats can be both tricky to find as well as tricky to catch. Make too much noise, they bolt. Get too close, they bolt. However, if you manage to both find and catch a bat, you can expect to catch a monster fish.
Yes! That's a fish, that's a good fish. What a monstrous beast.
Rats are both skittish and quick. It often takes 2 people to catch a rat. This often involves one person chasing a rat and the other person waiting around the corner to snatch it before the rat notices you. Oh right, about that lake expansion area. As we were designing the map, we realized that catching a massive endgame fish in the exact same spot where you caught a bluegill isn't very practical or realistic. Sure, there are some deeper areas in the main lake area, however, we wanted players to feel like they were going on an adventure to catch one of these endgame fish. In our fishing algorithm video, you learned that water depth plays an important part in determining what kind of fish you can catch. Why this is important to you is that players must learn where the very deep areas are in order to maximize their chances of catching fish. This can be done by either jumping off your boat and drowning yourself to see, how deep it is there, or by simply fishing and seeing what you catch in certain areas. If you notice you're catching gar or walleye while using a rat, the area you're fishing in might not be quite deep enough to catch endgame fish. In addition, you might need to upgrade your sinker in the item upgrade shop in order to increase the chances of catching larger fish. Cave lake and lake expansion serve important roles in allowing the player to catch larger fish. The cave supports a habitat of fish who have adapted to both the darkness and diet you might expect from living in a dark cave, while the expansion area supports fish who thrive in deep open waters and love eating large snacks, like rats. It is up to you to both locate and catch larger bait in order to catch larger fish. As each day passes, the creature's metabolism will grow, and it is up to you to catch the fish he oh so desires. If you fail in this quest, you can expect to be his next meal.
That's it for our progression update in Gone Fishing. The next thing I want to do is completely upgrade the fishing system in order to achieve maximum levels of dopamine. We're also going to run some playtests in order to make sure the totems and upgrades are balanced. If you want to join these playtests or just give feedback, then join the Discord. Also, wishlist Gone Fishing on Steam, and maybe even subscribe.
Guys!
Oh no, it's in front of the door. We could just keep him trapped outside. No!